Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing good and keeping yourself safe. Okay, today what we are going to do in Adobe Photoshop, we are going to learn about how to create animated GIFs. Okay, and after creating animated GIFs, we are going to know how we can add an animation that we want to showcase that you have already done before. So how we can do it with layers, how we can animate GIFs using layers, and how we can add a video animation for your website or YouTube or anything like that. So how we can do that in Photoshop. Okay, so I have opened Creative Cloud and I'm going to open Photoshop. So for that I have downloaded uh, images from the internet that is free and open source. So you can also try that one out, or if you have your own image you can use those to create the animated GIF. Okay, so by the time it opens, so depending upon your computer configuration, it takes sometimes a little bit of time. Okay, so Photoshop is open. So I'm going to open the image that I have already downloaded. Okay. Okay, so this image is loaded. Okay, so first thing you have to understand what kind of animation you have to create. Okay, so whenever you are having an animation, first you draw a rough sketch that what you are going to do with this animation, what type of animation you are going to create. Like for example, this is a football that is there in the image. So what kind of animation you are going to create with this football? So there are multiple ways you can create animation, but first be careful what and how you're going to do the animation. Okay, so for this case, in this football case that what I am working with, uh, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a bouncing ball effect, like football is bouncing on the GIF animation. Okay, or like that. So depending upon that, you have to work with the image. Okay, so what I'm going to do, in order to do that, first what you have to do is go to window. Okay, and you have to select timeline. Okay, where like before it the timeline will not be coming in your Photoshop Outlook. So here from window you are going to select timeline. Okay, so that will give you the opportunity to create a new animation. Okay, so this is the first step. You have to have the timeline. Okay, then what I'm going to do, I have to get this football out from this image. Okay, so for that you can choose different tools. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose this tool. Okay, so this is called Elliptical Marquee tool. You can use another tool if you want to, because I need to cut this football out of this image. Okay, so this is a rough tool that I'm going to use. Okay, so I don't need to be precise. If you want, okay, so you can use the space bar to move, or the selection. Okay, so okay, let me make another selection. Okay, so okay, I got this ball over here. Okay, so this is the selected. So then I'm going to do Control J. Okay, so now what you can see, that this football is there on my screen, oh sorry, layer. So you can see the thumbnail over here of the football, but this football looks a bit bigger, so I use Control T to transform using Shift, so I can make it a bit smaller, so I can have a football image. Okay, now you can see that there is no background over here, so I'm just going to Control J. Okay, and in this one I don't need the football. Oh, I don't need the football. Okay, so uh, so for that I can use Control Z. I can insert one more layer. Okay, so I don't need the football over here. Okay, so I can go to image, sorry, edit, and I can use the fill. Okay, so foreground color I can choose white as a background. Okay, so now I cannot see the football. I just grab and drag the layer down so I can have the football coming over here. Okay, so if you look over here, this football, I can move the football, for example, over here, and this is the starting position of my football. So what animation I'm going to do is that football will be bouncing down and going up. It depends upon you what type of animation you want to do. Now we come to the timeline. So there are few things in the timeline. Okay, so here you have create frame animation, and there is create video timeline. So today what we are going to learn, we are going to do frame animation. Okay, so here you can see that, okay, this is the first frame. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to click on create frame animation. So over here you will see that this frame has been created, and you will see the different other options like how much seconds or delay you want to have over here. We are going to look into that in details later on, but first this is my starting frame. Now what I have to do in order to create the effect, so I'm just going to add another frame over here, so it will duplicate the, if you look at over here, it will duplicate the image. Okay, so that is done. Now in the second frame I want the ball to come over here on the screen. Okay, that is much better. So that is done. So now first frame is talking about ball is coming down and it reaches the ground or floor, whatever you want to say. So now we have to create the animation. How we can do that? you can just click on control, so both of the animations are selected. Then in the panel you will see that this is an option that is called twinning. Okay, because in animation, okay, like in animation, you cannot make frame by frame. If you are going to make frame by frame, it will be very difficult, and sometimes smooth transition is not possible. Okay, so that's why there is an option in Photoshop, you can twin it. So in twinning you have few options like previous frame or next frame. Obviously we are doing it from frame 1 and filling between frame 2, so we are going to use previous frame. But if you want to do for the next frame, you can still do that. So I'm going to use previous frame. Okay, so there are multiple options you can use in Photoshop, okay, depending upon the type or the nature of your animation. So you have to first decide what actually you are going to do in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so you have to use previous frame. Okay, so how many frames you want to add up? Okay, so how many frames you are going to add in between 1 and 2? So it depends upon your animation and your requirement. For example, I will put 10 over here. So what it will do, it will add 10 frames in between this animation. Now we have another options like all layers or selected layers. Okay, so what is going to happen if I use selected layers? So first look at the selected layers. Okay, so you can see that 1 and 12 was the original frames, and it added up 10 frames. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 frames Photoshop added by itself. Okay, so in order to view the image or animation, you can just go over here and play the animation. Okay, so this is the animation. If you look at over here, these are some options how much times you want this animation to run. Okay, so in order to just look at how the animation, our animation works, we have seen over here. Okay, so now this is simple animation, but when we have selected the option, if you look at the previous frame, okay, so if you look at the previous frame, okay, or frame number 3, so if you look at frame number 1, background is there. Here there is no background, and in the last one you see the background again. So if we run this, so can you see this, that background is going out, and this is not a good thing when we are doing the animation. So if we haven't had any background, so in that case this option was quite better, but now it is not giving a smooth transaction. So what we are going to do, we are going to go back again. So 2 is selected, we are going to do the twinning. Here if we select all layers, so what it will do, it will just copy as what we wanted. So if you look now, so now the animation is quite smooth. So now you can see that our transaction is quite smooth. Okay, now from here we want to bounce the ball and either hit the ball or take it out of the screen. So what we are going to do, we are going to add one more animation over here, and over here what we are going to do, we are going to move the ball, okay, maybe out of the screen. And same procedure we are going to do, like we are going to twin it. Again we are going to use the same previous frame, twin with previous frame, add frames to add is 10 and all layers. Okay, so now we are going to run our animation. Okay, so this looks quite good. Now, so you have seen how easily we can create the animation over here in Adobe Photoshop. So now if you look over here, the animation, like over here, like now I want the ball coming down, and over here it stays for some time. So I can make the delaying option, for example 5 seconds, and then I'm going to run my animation once to see how the effect it will be having. So now the ball is staying for some time, and that is 5 seconds, and then it will move on to, so 5 seconds is, I think, a bit too high value. Let's see with 2. 2 seems much better. So again I'm going to run it and see. Okay, so 2 seconds, and then it will move. So 2 seconds seems to be higher value as well. Let us see with 0.5. So how it looks like. Okay, this is much better. Like it will stay for 0.5 seconds, and then it move on to go out from the screen. So it depends upon how you want to do the animation. If you want to, so in order to understand this thing, or if you want to have a delay on whole of your animation, you can select by controlling last and like whatever image or frame you want. Okay, so you can use shift and first and last image you can select, and you can select the delay of, for example, 1 second. Okay, so it will do a delay of 1 second, so it will give a little time for the animation. So it depends upon your requirement. Okay, so here if 1 second I have given, so I'll go to the this section and do 2 seconds, so it will have some delaying effects. Okay, so this is the simplest animation that you can do in Photoshop. Okay, so now if you want to play the animation once, 3 times, or if you want to make it forever, you can use it. If you want to choose another option, like I want my animation to be played for 5 times, so it will work 5 times and then it will stop. Okay, so when we are talking about if you are creating a banner or animation for a website, so normally we use forever as an option because that will keep on going. Okay, so whatever work you are doing, it keeps on in the forever loop. So this is one way of creating the animation. Okay, now the important part is how we are going to save this animation. Okay, so for that what we are going to do, we are going to save this as export and save for web and use legacy option. Okay, so now here you have this window. Okay, so you can have a preview. Okay, so you can see the preview of your animation. Okay, uh, let me do, so in preview what happen is it will open for the web how it will look like. Okay, so it is taking time, so by the time uh, so let it open, and here we have some presets that we can use. So let us see if it is showing or not. Okay, so it is taking time. Okay, so now we are going to look at the different options that we can use. Okay, first we look at the preset. Okay, so either you can use JPEG, GIF or PNG. Okay, so for that website it is always better to use PNG or GIF. So if you want, these are the preset, that is 128 bits the third. Okay, so if you look at over here in preset, image size has been changed. Similarly, if you go to 32, okay, so the color range over here with the color table is less, and over here color table is more. Similarly, if you go to JPEG high, so okay, so it is not showing any color table over here, so we'll go to PNG 8. So depending upon your requirements, you can use this. So higher quality is GIF 128 the third value. Then you can select okay which one you want over here, because I have used GIF, so I can use GIF. Okay, so this one, if you are specifically targeting your GIF for any Windows, Mac OS or something like that, because I have used black and white, so it is looking like this. Okay, here if you want to change like 256, okay, so obviously the more you are going to do or more high you will go, the more image size it will have. Okay, let us see this over here. Okay, so this is the animation that we have created. You can look at the website. Okay, so the different options. So if you look at the dimension, okay, height and width, and this is the file size. So this is very crucial when we are making animation for the website. So it should have to be small size. It shouldn't be like 10 MB, 20 MB, 30 MB image, because the more your file size will be, it will take more time to load up. And here you have the HTML code that you can put in your page to show this image. So normally this is the image that is required. Rest of the code is just for this settings of the web page. So this is how you are going to do that. Okay, so here then if you want some specific height and width, you can choose it, because I'm using it as a default. If you have something specific, you can do this thing. Similarly, quality, so normally we use bicubic or bilinear quality, that is sufficient for the work. And that's it. Most of the thing we have already done, so we are going to save it. So it will ask you to save the file. Okay, ball GIF, and you just save it as your animation. Similarly, you can save this file as well, because I'm not going to touch the original file. Okay, so this can be as PSD. Okay, so this is how you are going to create your GIF using animation. So I'm not going to close it. Now there is a similar concept. Okay, if you have created any Photoshop having, for example, multiple layers, so you can do that work as well using animation. So like in the previous session, I have created this with the house and one guy is standing on the roof and one girl is standing over here. So how we can have animation for this as well? So it is quite simple. Like I have this animation that I'm going to make, and this is my work that I have previously done with layers. So I'm going to create a frame animation. Okay, I'm going to add another one. Okay, and then in this one I'm going to add this person, for example. Similarly, if you want to create twin, you can create the twin. Okay, so I'm just going to put 5 over here. Okay, so if you look at the effect now, can you see this, that guy is appearing? Okay, so from here I will add another one, and in this one I'm going to make it view for the girl to appear on the floor. And again I'm going to do the twinning and this thing. So now if I am going to run my animation, so you will get an effect of any specific animation. So now, for example, if you are showcasing your work to your employer or to any client, and you are making it as an animation and you want to showcase your work, so you can use these options in Photoshop and create a GIF that this is the work I have done. If you want, you can change the settings. For example, if you want over here that you want some delay, okay, so this will give a delay effect, and then after 5 seconds this will happen. Okay, so you can save this file as a GIF, but there is another option that you can explore in Adobe Photoshop. Instead of GIF, there is another option called render video. Okay, so if for example you are creating an image or animation for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or uh, any other social media networking sites, so here this is a very good option that whatever work you are doing, you can create it as a video. So that video you can upload, or you can use it on YouTube as well. So you can upload it on those social media platforms in order to get maximum coverage of your work. So first thing, we have created the GIF. Now if you look at render the video, so here you will able to get the video. Okay, so for that you have to choose the selection of render video. So now we will get the output screen, what are the things that are available over here. Okay, so I can put it as the name of the file. Okay, here we have different options, like either you can make Photoshop image sequence, okay, or Adobe Media Encoder. So if you have already pre-installed Adobe Media Encoder, so for that H.264 is the format for MP4 that you can use. If you want to do it for QuickTime Player or DPX, you can use that option as well. Here document frame rate if you want, or if you want some other frame rate, you can choose that. We normally use it between 24 to 30, and the normal human size eyes can go for is 26 to 28. So normally 30 frames per second is the default that we use, because this is not too much uncomfortable for human eye. So all frames, okay, and okay, we are going to render it. So depending upon the options that you want, you can use those things and you can create your video. Same thing, we can do it in the previous football animation that we have created. We also can do the rendering and make a video of that animation. So it depends like what and how you are going to showcase your work with using GIF or animation. Okay, so that's it. I think it has created the video, so let us open the file over here. Okay, so desktop, multimedia. Okay, so where it has this is the mp4 that it have created for us. So let us open it and see how it looks like. Okay, so we can see that the image animation that we have created converted in the video file. So if you look at, because that girl, we have created the last option, so that girl is coming but very for a very short duration of time. Okay, so we'll see over here. So the girl is coming but for a very short duration of time. So in that case, what you can do, you can extend or copy some more frames in order to just give an idea, or in the last just add a few more seconds, so you will able to get all the things. So this is how you can create, you can upload it on YouTube or social media website, Instagram, whatever your preference is. So I hope you have learned something new today. Okay, don't forget to save the file. Okay, that you have learned something new, and it will be helpful and beneficial for your future endeavors. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. Thank you.